Hello and welcome to the third BS report. I'm your host, not Hassan Minaj. I thank you for your time and I apologize for the misunderstanding. My name is Narayn and this is how I cope with, well, now I've been doing this show for a couple weeks, and while I know some people have seen the videos, recent evidence uncovered at my home has revealed that my parents watched the show as well. I present to you Exhibit A quote from my father. Chumma, you keep running off your mouth with no regard for who's watching, they're gonna kill you. Then who's gonna take care of me and your mother when we're old? And Exhibit B from my mother. Anuma, you do a good job, Dakanna. Just don't take anyone's name and talk about some other things as well. You're our only son. If you die, then who's gonna give us grandchildren? Now this has made me realize that most of the time, my parents prefer me alive. To that end, this week, I'm not going to do anything dangerous, like talk about India, or walk into a school or college in Karnataka while wearing a hijab. I'm going to talk about something non-life threatening, something harmless. So let's talk about World War III. In this episode, first, we'll give a small background into the actual conflict. Second, we'll talk about what is actually happening right now. Third, we'll talk about why this could be happening. And finally, we'll try to answer the question, are we at war? Now, while the relationship between Russia and Ukraine is long and complicated, the relationship since the breakup of the Soviet Union in 1991 can be summarized by this. However, in 2014, this relationship changed a little bit when Russia simply looked at Ukraine's Crimean Peninsula, took their tanks and special forces, aka Spetsnaz, like a Call of Duty, hopped across and simply called dibs. Is that your land? What? This land? Da, it is our land. It is my land now. No, I just told you, it is our land. Try again. Whose land is it? That is your land. Da, yours. Good answer. Spasiba. Now, naturally, the international community was extremely unhappy with this development. They rose in unison to look Russia in the eye and say, hey, knock it off, buddy. Give us Crimea back or or you'll what? Fine. You can keep what you have, but no more. Also, you're not in our club anymore. And remember, if you also help me, God, if you get any ideas, remember this. I am watching you. Needless to say, this approach has not been the most successful. While the sanctions imposed by Western countries have affected Russia's economy, they made virtually no difference to Russian policy. Russia is still one of the world's biggest exporters of oil and natural gas and is the second biggest arms supplier on the planet, coming only after the United States of America. In fact, Russia has only stepped it up, because after Crimea's annexation, Russia has backed separatists in the Donbas region in eastern Ukraine, where fighting continues sporadically to this day. This brings us to the dark black hole of death, where hope, dreams and happiness go to die. Also known as 2021, or according to the Chief Minister of Uttar Pradesh, Kerala. In March-April of 2021, Russia amassed over an estimated 100,000 troops along its border with Ukraine and in Crimea, marking the biggest ever mobilization since Russia's 2014 invasion. While Russia withdrew the troops quickly, claiming that the entire incident was a training exercise in response to NATO's Defender 21 exercises, involving over 30,000 troops from 27 countries, tension still simmered. Now, such flare-ups between Russia and the NATO are usually an unpleasant yet common occurrence, sort of like those online ads you just can't seem to skip. But the scale of this mobilization troubled NATO. In response, US imposed a few economic sanctions on Russia, and Ukraine has conducted drone strikes in Donbas against pro-Russian separatists. Meanwhile, Russia has mobilized troops in numbers totaling up to 150,000 in Crimea along the Russia-Ukraine border, Belarus, where they've been conducting joint training exercises, and the breakaway Moldovan region of Transnistria, effectively surrounding Ukraine in three directions. Or as Bahubali would say, Trishula Vyuham Arambham, and those are not fun words. They've not only moved troops to these regions, Russia has also moved critical supplies like heavy equipment, medical supplies, and even blood units. US intelligence has repeatedly stated Russia is nearly prepared for a full-scale invasion of Ukraine, with the US Secretary of State Antony Blinken saying, and I quote, "We're in a window when an invasion could begin at any time, and to be clear, that includes during the Olympics." Now this brings us to the next part of the episode.
Why?
So let's break this down the best we can. Since the 2014 invasion, Ukraine has become closer to its western neighbors in the EU and NATO. Steps like a free trade agreement between Ukraine and the European Union has been made, and visa-free travel to the EU for Ukrainians has been made possible. Ukraine has also become close to the United States. It is one of the largest recipients of military aid from the US and is also a prospective member of NATO, thereby bringing the Cold War era alliance right to Russia's doorstep. This is something Russia would risk a lot to avoid, and is actually one of the most important demands they've made in negotiations with the USA and other NATO nations like France. While there's a lot of geopolitical motivation for Russia, experts in the field have also opined that Putin has a personal stake in the matter as well. Putin has called the breakup of the USSR a disintegration of historical Russia, and is therefore believed to be personally determined to ensure that he doesn't lose Russia's influence on any of the former Soviet states. This finally brings us to the biggest question. Are we headed towards World War III nuclear boogaloo? And the optimistic answer would be, probably not. Now I know this is uncharacteristically positive for the show, but that is because we have seen this before. Such tense moments keep coming up between adversarial nations. Remember how we are almost at war with China right now, and how we've almost been at war with Pakistan for the past 75 years? This is like that, except much worse. But odds are, nothing major is going to happen. Foreign policy experts and diplomats predict that this is a tactic by the Russians to basically guarantee Ukraine never joins the NATO and ensure NATO troops in Eastern Europe are pulled back. Nevertheless, this is an extremely delicate situation, and all of us must be paying attention. One wrong move by any of the 3 million parties involved and the whole thing could snowball into nuclear war. I mean, can you imagine? Everything up in flames, the whole planet going up in smoke, no human life, everything ruined. Now that I'm saying this out loud, I don't think this would be the worst thing to happen. Whoa. Now, for the first time ever, I'm going to give you my personal opinion on the issue. I need every one of you to hear this from me directly. I don't care what the world says, I don't care what anyone says. If I have to stand alone, then so be it, because I am not afraid anymore. So here goes. I am against war. And I think World War III would be a terrible, terrible, terrible idea. There, I said it. And you can take that to the bank. So, disturbing visuals aside, thank you so much for watching. If you like the video, please like it. If you like the content, please subscribe to the channel. There are new videos each week and it really helps us out. So thank you, goodbye, and I love you.